Don't stop.
Hi, thanks for joining me on the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. I'm Zach Randall-Friedman, the host of this podcast. So thanks for joining me. I'm going to tell you about one of my dream guests that I got on my podcast. I'm going to tell you about him in just a moment. But first, I'm going to start off and tell you about a dream I had last night, because I woke up in this dream and I have been thinking about it all day and I can't get it out of my head. And I called my aunt this morning and I told her about it. I'm like, why did I have this weird dream? It felt so real. You know those dreams where it just feels like you're really there? That's what I felt. So let me tell you the dream. And I'm going to look it up later. There's got to be, I think there's a website where you can go and like examine what your dreams meant. And so I am going to go look at this and see what this dream means. But I was in a hospital waiting room, but it wasn't a typical hospital waiting room like a doctor's office. It was like kind of loungy, and there's like big plush couches and chairs there. And I don't know who the other people were in there, but people were coming out of like the back room, I guess, where they would see the doctor or do whatever they were doing, and they would come out. And so I went back there, and I didn't see myself go back there in the dream into this room. And I came back, and somebody said, "How did it go?" This woman was sitting there. She goes, "How did it go?" I go, "Fine." And then somebody would come out, and they told one of the patients or the people that were sitting in the room, "Oh, you have a boy coming." And then I realized that I went in to this back room to give a sperm donation or sample, and the other people were doing the same thing in the room. And then the nurse or the doctor, whoever it was, would come out and say, "Oh, we've processed your sample and you have a baby coming," and they would tell you the sex. And so I'm sitting on this plushy couch and I'm so nervous, and I'm talking to the person next to me. I'm like, "God, I hope I have a boy. I hope I have a little boy. I really want a little boy." And we're sitting there talking, and I woke up. And so I don't know what baby I was going to have. And I lay there and I'm like, I got to go back to sleep. Because sometimes, when you're dreaming, you can if you fall back asleep, you can kind of get back into the dream somehow. Or is that just me? Or is that just my imagination? But I feel like you can get back into the dream. And I could not get back in it. So now I will never know if I even could have a baby. I'm not even going to know if it's a boy or a girl. And I really wanted a boy. I wanted a boy baby. I wanted to take him to baseball practice. I was thinking about all the things I would have done if I would have had a child. I mean, me and my husband talked about having children multiple times. At one point, he really wanted to do it. I did not. Then I wanted to do it. And then I did not. And when we moved to Boston, I guess this was 10 years ago at this point or more, we moved into this house and I said, "Listen, we're at this age and we need to decide in the next," I said, "if you want to have a child, I'm open, but we need to decide in the next, you have 2 weeks to think about it. And if you don't come back to me in 2 weeks, that means that we're not going to do it." And so I thought about it over those 2 weeks. I'm like, he's going to come to me and say he wants to do it. I was kind of getting excited about it for a little bit. And he never came back to me. So after the 2 weeks, we were out to dinner. I remember exactly when this happened. I said, "So I gave you the 2 weeks kind of to think about it, and you didn't come back." He goes, "Yeah, no, I like vacations, and we like to travel, and we like to do things, and you like Gucci shoes, and I don't think we should have a kid." And I said, "Okay," because having a child in the U.S. through a surrogate is very expensive. It's like $150,000 plus, and there's still no guarantees. So, yeah, it's expensive. I looked into it. I just couldn't justify spending $150,000. We talked about adoption at one point, but I don't know. We talked about fostering a child, and we did none of that. So here we are. Now we're. I think we're too old. People are like, "No, you're never too old." No, we're too old and we're too set in our ways. And even though we have a big house and we have a bedroom that's upstairs that could be the kids' bedroom, and it's a nice big room. They'd have their own bathroom and everything. So, but Who knows? I'm a godfather to my friend's daughter. And so if anything ever happens to him and his husband, I get both of their kids. But I made sure there's a lot of money that comes along with that because I need a lot of money to raise two little girls. Yeah, I'll send them to boarding school and then just keep the money and live my life and travel the world with all that money. So kidding, just kidding. I would love those girls like as if they were my own. So my guest today has a son. His name is Clayborne Elder, and you may know him from the Gilded Age if you watch. That's where I discovered him at. And me and my husband loved him because he was the gay character, one of the gay characters in the Gilded Age. And he's so fucking good looking. And I wanted him on my show because his character was unfortunately killed off from the Gilded Age. And I was so upset when it happened. Whenever it happened, I remember me and my husband were laying in bed watching the episode. And he got killed off in a kind of a dramatic way. And we both kind of sat up in bed like, what? And it was so disappointing. And the other weird thing about this interview is that when I first started my podcast, like over 2.5 years ago, I think it was season 1, his brother is a psychiatrist or psychologist, also part of the LGBTQ plus community. And he came on my podcast and he even mentioned during the interview, oh, I have a brother that's famous. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And I was new to podcasting. I should have went into it and asked him more about his brother. And I just didn't because I was like new. Like I don't even listen to the first 50 episodes that I did. I don't listen to any of my episodes, to be honest. But I definitely do not. I wish I could erase even the first 100 episodes that I've done because I feel like they're so different than who I am now. My interview style was so bad, I think. Interviewing my friends and stuff. And I don't know. But his brother, William, or he calls him Billy, I'm friends with him on Facebook. And whenever he posted a picture with him and Clayborne were together doing a family thing together. And I wrote him a message. I'm like, oh my God, your brother is from the guy from the Gilded Age? He goes, yeah, we had the same nose. I'm like, what? Like he's one of the people that's in my list that I wanted to interview. And so he gave me a little help in getting him on my show. And I have to say that Clay was so nice and so genuine and just so charming and just as good looking as he posts on his Instagram. If you don't follow Clayborne Elder on Instagram, do it because if you are a gay man or a straight woman, you will appreciate him because his body is so good. He's so beautiful. He's just a nice guy too, which makes him even more hot because he's nice and genuinely just an amazing person. So I'm so happy I got to interview him. He's doing Broadway right now. He was actually on set of a secret movie. He couldn't talk about it at the time we were interviewing because it's not announced yet. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, you can go and Google him and you can see what movie he's actually filming and stuff. But he is so nice. I will put links into the description of this podcast so you can go and figure out where you can go see him on Broadway because he'll still be in Broadway when this episode comes out. He's doing Little Shop, and it's you should Google him and listen to him sing too because his voice is so good. Like he is talented in acting and Broadway and singing. He's got multiple talents, and I feel very honored I got to interview him. So enjoy my interview with Clay and leave a comment and tell us what you think about the interview. And don't forget to follow him and send me a DM and let me know what you think. Thanks so much for listening. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me on the Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay podcast. I have a guest, and he does not know this, I don't think, but he was on my top 5 people that I wanted to interview. Yes, top 5.
What?
Yes. And the interesting thing is that when I started my podcast about 2.5 years ago, I interviewed his brother. And his brother was so phenomenally nice and stuff. And we became Facebook friends. And I don't know, we became friends somehow. And I seen a picture, and he's like, I think he even mentioned you in our interview.
Wow.
And in the interview, he's like, oh, I have a brother who's an actor. I'm like, oh, okay. And I kind of just like passed it by. And anyway, I want to first welcome Clayborne Elder or Clay. Thanks
Thank
so much
you.
for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So, I just like didn't even think about it. I'm like, okay, I was new to the podcast world, trying to like just make it work.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, like 9 months ago, he posted a picture of the two of you on his Facebook, and I'm like, is your brother from Gilded Age? He goes, yeah, I told you. Like, he's like, we had the same nose, and I'm like, you didn't tell me this. Like, he was John Adams. Like, this changes everything. So you were on my top 5.
That's crazy.
And Bridget Everett are in my top 5.
Oh, I love her so much.
I love her so much. And I just interviewed Justin Elizabeth last week or the week right before he did the 1,000 Nights of Judy's Night, because I was helping him promote it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm friends with Bridget. I can get her for you. So
I performed at that Night of 1,000.
I heard. How did it go?
Yeah, it was fun. It was very fun.
Yeah.
It was actually at the beginning of Pride Month, I'm doing that. And I'm also singing at Liza Minnelli's 80th birthday at Carnegie Hall at the end of the month.
Holy shit. That's huge.
It's a very Judy Liza month for me.
Wow. That is amazing. Have you sung Carnegie Hall before?
I have, but only the first time I did it was about a year ago.
Okay.
And then I just did a concert there a few months ago, and now I get another chance. I kind of can't believe I'll probably never be there again, but it's great.
Well, you'll probably do a solo. That's your next thing, is a solo there.
Oh, geez. Maybe.
Okay. So I also have to tell you that I had a whole thing worked out in my head about whenever I interviewed you, because I followed you on Instagram for a long time. I know you have a son. I don't know why I didn't put the two to two together, that whenever I interviewed you, so my main goal, I have a main goal. One is to have as many listeners as like a Howard Stern does. I want millions of listeners. That's one goal. My other goal is I want to be a matchmaker, and I want to ordain somebody's wedding. So I had it in my head that, you have a son. Okay, he's a single father is what I had in my head for some reason. Uh-huh. Then I had to research you more before the interview, and I found out. Then I found out you have a husband. So I had somebody I wanted to set you up with and everything. I had 2 people I was going to like introduce you to that I thought would have been. One was John Hill, who you probably know.
Oh yeah, I was on his show a month ago.
Yeah, so John was on my show too, and I'm like, and I love John, and I'm like,
so great.
I'm like, they would be so cute together, but you're married.
Yeah.
Okay, but okay, next maybe in another life or something. So, so tell me about, you are now in the little shop, and tell me about that. It just started. I know you're in a little bit of a break because of an HVAC problem that happened.
And I'm shooting a movie right now. So part of the reason why they're fixing the HVAC at the theater right now is that I'm out, and Nikki James, who was in the original cast of Book of Mormon, the whole original cast of Book of Mormon has gone back to do a week of performances there. So she and I are both out of the show. So they just decided to cancel it this week and fix something at the theater.
Awesome.
So that's why I'm in a hotel room. But no, it's so great. I saw that production of Little Shop years ago and was like, I've got to play the dentist someday, but it's just never worked out. And then finally now it is working out, and I'm so excited. It's so much fun.
And we'll be right back. Okay, now back to the show. Does it get exhausting doing that many shows a week, one after the other?
No. Yes and no. Yeah. Like, I just love it so much. You get into a long running show, and you get into you do get into a habit, and like any job, there are some days where you're like, okay, but I'm sure but with performance, like your podcast, you probably are excited for every episode in a way, even if some days you're like, well, I'm exhausted. It's sort of the same, even though I do this exact same thing every day. You're having conversations with people, but like it does, every performance is different.
Yeah.
And, I sort of am of the, I don't know, I don't change things up in a wild way, but I also am not sort of interested in having the same show every day. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that works for people and sometimes that doesn't. but like this show really lends to it, that it's like you go, like it changes every day. It grows or it shrinks or it, and following that through is always fun to me.
How is it like going out and you can actually see people's reaction though when you're performing? That must feel like amazing, because you can feel the energy from the audience. Where like you do a show or a movie, you don't feel that necessarily. But being live on stage, tell me the difference of like what that is like.
That is very true. In fact, they were driving me from New York to here where I'm shooting this movie this morning. And there was a PA who was driving me, and she and I had like 3 hours to chat. And she was asking me about that. She was saying like, what, do you like doing film more or stage more? And it's true that there's just nothing like being in the room with the people, feeling them breathe and hearing them gasp or hear them laugh, or, like sharing an actual experience with them. Like it's a conversation, it's a collaboration that feels, there's nothing like that. Though the work of TV and film is just it's different, like I love it just as much, but in a different way. But I don't know, I will always love doing theater. But it's funny, you say looking out and seeing people. I hate seeing people.
Really?
Anybody's face. No, in fact, I do like solo cabaret or like solo performances. And whenever I go to a venue, I'm like, I need you to turn the lights up because I want to not see anybody. I want it bright at me. So also I look great, and no, but I don't want to be able to see anybody's face because it makes me nervous.
Oh, really? But when people come up to you afterwards, though, does it make you feel good? Like, because they're so complimentary about what you've done?
Oh, they're not always complimentary. People are
what?
Dead honest.
I've seen it. I watched so many of your videos. How can people not be complimentary?
No, but I mean, it's not always, like you take the good with the bad. Like, yes, it is, it's a job where people clap for me at the end.
Yeah. But,
you sort of like trade that for anything that's written about you on the internet. Or
well, people are always like much, they're so much more brave when they're behind the internet though than they would be,
For sure.
I have to ask about, you grew up in Utah as a Mormon, and you were the eighth of the 8 children. Mm-hmm. And how was that growing up? Did you know you were gay when you were growing up then? And were you just suppressing it? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah. So you interviewed my brother, who's also gay.
Yeah.
He's the brother that's just older than me.
Okay.
And then up from there. So he and I were very close when we were growing up because we were close to the same age. And also we both liked to listen to Judy Garland. And very early on, I think that like we didn't come out to each other till our early 20s, partially because we were having a hard time reconciling our own identity with ourselves. Yeah. So it was not, especially within the church. Both of us went to BYU for a time, the Mormon school.
Yeah.
Both of us were asked to leave the Mormon school for being gay. And you think one of us would have learned. But we both like knew about each other.
Yeah.
And so then when we finally did come out to each other, our already strong bond was like then just doubled because it was like, oh, we're both, like we both share this thing with each other. And I also joke frequently that having a gay brother for a gay kid is just the best because you like to do all the same things and make charcuterie boards together and listen to Edith Piaf records, and you think you're normal because there's somebody to do it with, when junior high school. So I was very lucky to have Billy growing up because of that.
How did your other 6 siblings take it? Were they fine with it at the end of the day?
To varying degrees.
Okay.
Yeah. Like there's some of them were easier than others, like my sister, who is like a secondary mom to me almost, like she jumped on board real quick. And some of them took longer, but I know that my sort of story from a conservative background oftentimes doesn't end in such a nice way. And so I do feel incredibly lucky that I had not only parents, but other siblings and family to support me. And they are there. We come from a very conservative family, especially on one side. And even those people at least try.
Yeah.
Nobody's yelled at me at Thanksgiving or something. So I feel like very lucky and maybe spoiled in a sense of like, I didn't have to go through any of that. It was not always easy. I'm not saying there weren't things, but I was very lucky.
Did your brother come out to your family before you did?
This is a question. I don't know.
Okay.
Sort of. I was the first one that came out and was like, I'm gay and I'm not doing anything about it.
Okay.
He had a maybe more difficult route in that he went through some reparative therapy.
Okay.
He was like, this is something I'm struggling with that I'd like to change about myself. I was like, oh no, I'm not into this Mormon thing. From a pretty early, like late high school, I was like, oh, I don't think I believe this, And I was the first one to come out in the sense that like, I was like, this is what my life is going to be like. He was the first person to say, this is something I'm struggling with or
Got
something
it.
about me, So it's hard to see. Exactly.
Yeah. He was, and he's a psychiatrist or psychologist, right? So he really took the full circle there. So
It did. Yeah.
do you see your family? Do you see him a lot?
Yeah. He lives in Texas. And so we, like my siblings, well, the bottom 4 siblings do a siblings reunion once a year where we all, without spouses, without kids,
I love that.
Siblings go together to a place. Oftentimes it's near where one of us lives. Like they came to my house upstate this last year. And before that we went to Texas. And so we go out to visit each other. And he also loves to come to New York. So he and his not boyfriend come to New York to visit a lot. And then we're also always home at holidays together. We always go to Utah for holidays and things. So
awesome. So whenever you got well, first I want to start with John Adams. I know this is you probably get tired of talking about this, but I was so disappointed whenever he got killed. When you found out and you read the script that he was going to be killed, I mean, were you disappointed?
When they write shows like this, oftentimes, or pitch them, they often have like a Bible, which is like their idea of what 4 or 5 seasons of the show would look like and what would happen. Yeah. So it was a part of that. So it was sort of always a part of the plan, but that plan also changes frequently. And so there was a big part of me that was like, oh, maybe it'll change. Maybe they're gonna, maybe something happened. But Julian Fellows, who writes the show, was very adamant that like this was what needed to happen for big shifts that are happening within the show. And it was kind of the only way to do it. And so it's sad because it feels personal, but it's nothing to do with you. It's just the way that the story goes. But it's like going to your own funeral.
Yeah.
And it's very funny. Like once the news got out amongst the cast, everybody started treating me like I had some sort of terminal illness. They were all like, hey, are you okay? How are you doing? I was like, oh, are you all right? But I had a blast going through it. Like I was joking around. Like every time I knew that I was shooting like my last scene with somebody, I'd be like, hey, I'm about to die. So you want anything you need to tell me, or can we take some pictures together? Let's hang out, because this is it. And, it's like anything that ends, it's scary. And it was scary to me when it happened, because you think like, will I do anything ever again?
Yeah.
Especially as an artist or freelance kind of life as an artist, you're like always questioning whether you will have something else as good or find something else. And, already things that never would have happened have happened because of it. And so it's sad, but mostly because I miss my friends. I miss going to work with my friends. But then I realized that they were still going to be my friends and we still hang out. Like Cynthia Nixon's birthday was a couple of weeks ago, and like I was with everybody at the birthday, and it was one of the first times there was like a big cast gathering. Yeah. And I was like, am I going to feel weird? Am I going to feel weird? And it was so fun, and like nothing had changed. No time had passed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Was it a fun cast to work with like every day? Did it feel like family at the end of the day?
Yeah. It was like, there are so many theater people on the show, which was very purposeful of them. They cast theater people because they were like, we know theater people can handle the language, can handle the style, can handle the structure about how you're supposed to act. And so it was sort of like we were all a part of a big theater company who just happened to be making a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of those sets, I've been on other shows, and a lot of those sets can be really bro-y, especially like procedurally kind of things.
Yeah.
You don't always feel as a queer person totally comfortable, because there aren't usually a lot of you.
Yeah.
And so this was like a very different experience, in that it was like, hey, we rule here.
Yeah.
And it was very fun. It was a very different environment than other things I've been on, TV shows and things.
And we'll be right back. Okay, and now back to the show. How did Ben Ayler feel about being known as that kind of? They kept calling him like
Twink?
yes,
Oh,
exactly.
he loved it. Are you kidding me? He ate it. Ate
Okay.
it, loved it. He was like, please, my gays, come at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first seen him, like he's kind of a doofy character, and wasn't really into them. But then, like, he's sort of growing on me. I'm like, God, he's kind of hot, actually. So
Yeah, that jaw.
yeah, it's something.
He's also like 6'4".
Oh, he is?
Giant.
That
Yeah.
makes him even more hotter.
Yeah.
And
He's a sweetheart.
and then the other guy who I think is hot is he plays Larry. His name is Harry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's Larry Russell is his character.
He is such a weirdo in the best way possible. He's like so like during hiatus, he was always like, yeah, I don't know. I ended up in India. I was hanging out there for a while, and I was like, I don't know. I think I need to get back? And anyway, but I just meditated for an extra 2 weeks, and then I came home. I'm always like, what are you doing? Where are you? What's happening with your life? Like he's such a free spirit. He's Australian. He's like, yeah.
I wish I was like that more.
No, me too. Ugh, it's a nice life.
Yeah, it is. So tell me about, can you tell me anything about the movie you're working on now, or is it kind of top secret?
I can't because they haven't announced it yet.
Okay.
But I'm shooting it this whole month. And so news I think should come out about it soon.
Okay, cool. Yeah. There's something that I was so impressed by that you done, and it was, I'll let you tell the story. I'll start it off. But when you were 23 years old and you were at a Putnam County spelling bee and somebody gave you $200 and they said, go see this show.
Yeah.
And you've paid it forward. So can you just like tell my audience, because when I read that, like it just like hit my heart, like how amazing this nonprofit that you're doing and what you've done.
Thanks. It's, it's the craziest thing that's ever happened to me. I think I can easily say that, but did it shake the whole world? No, but to my world, it did. And, it's this story that like has gone out into the world in this crazy way. And I was on the Kelly Clarkson show and I was on This American Life and all these things because of it. But to me, it's this like a very small miracle that happened in a very strange way. But basically, I came right after I got kicked out of BYU. I went to New York and I was seeing shows, and this guy came up to me outside the theater. I was in the standing room because it's the only ticket I could afford. And he was like, "You looked like you were enjoying the show more than the people in the expensive seats. Here's $200. Go buy yourself a ticket to Sweeney Todd tomorrow. It'll change your life." And there was a lot of things that I could have spent money on in that time in my life.
Yeah.
$200, but I did it. I went and bought the tickets. And when the guy gave me the money, I was kind of like, what do you want? Because I was just this kid from Utah and I thought New York was where the bad people were, know. But he didn't want anything from me. And I took a picture with him because it was the only thing I could think of to do. So then cut to years later, I was in Company on Broadway, and he didn't even know I was an actor, and that show starred Patti LuPone, that production of Sweeney Todd. Years later, then I'm starring with Patti LuPone in a musical on Broadway. And I decided I was going to give away 2 tickets to the show, sort of in honor of that man. And I posted the picture of he and I, and wrote the story out and said I was just going to give away 2 tickets for free. I bought them, and people started messaging me and asking me if they could send me more money to buy more people tickets. It was right, it's difficult to say the end of the pandemic, but it was when life was returning to normal-ish from the pandemic. And, there were a lot of artists out of work. There were a lot of young people out of work, and a ticket to a Broadway show was even more of a luxury than maybe now. And so people started sending me more and more money, and Patti LuPone's lawyer actually stepped in and was like, "Hey, let me help you." And we became a registered nonprofit. Now we've given away over almost 4,000 tickets to Broadway shows, and they're not free. They're paid for by a stranger who wants to do something nice for someone else. And we partner with community organizations now. We partner with people who help youth experiencing homelessness, who oftentimes end up in New York because they've been kicked out of their house because they're queer. who want to pursue a life in the arts, public school teachers who live within the vicinity of Broadway but can't afford to go there, all sorts of people. There's no age limit. We've given away tickets to 75-year-old people and to children.
Yeah.
And it's been incredibly moving to me to see just this. You know, I joke that like if you're gonna give money to one organization, give it to somebody helping somebody save someone's life. If you have money to give to more than one organization,
Yeah.
give it to us, because you know we're changing lives by doing something nice for somebody, which can be a huge change.
Does the kindness that came from this, from people, did it surprise you and shock you? Like that it just kind of kept coming? Like, I mean,
Yeah. I
this
mean, it
world,
still does. Yeah.
yeah.
You know, and because it's a small thing. And theater is in some ways a luxury, you know, especially Broadway. But the stories of the people who have come to see the shows because of City of Strangers, which is the name of the organization, the stories are just incredible about what is done for people's lives. And so that is what has kept it going, you know, is that's why we keep doing it.
And can you tell me, you met the guy, right? Like, how did you find him?
Yeah. So I posted that picture of me and the guy, and a mutual friend of mine and his reached out and said, I saw that photo. I know him. Do you want to talk to him? And he connected us. And now we're friends. His name's Mark. He's like, you know, those people that you like went to high school with and you get back together with them and it's like no time passed at all.
Yeah.
Because we had this crazy thing happen to us and the news went crazy about it when it happened, sort of. And because it was this shared thing we went through, now we're very close. And like, he's like my uncle. He's come to see me in shows. He came to see me on Broadway. He's come to see me in my cabaret shows across the country. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, like, I guess he probably didn't have any idea the impact that it would have, not just in your life, but on all these other 4,000 plus people that you've helped so far too. So, I mean, that's such an incredible story.
It is incredible. And it's, you know, the beautiful thing about it too is I asked him once, I said, like, is this something you do a lot? Or when we were getting to know each other, he was like, no, I'd never done it before. And I haven't done it since.
Wow. That's incredible. It was like it was meant to be.
Yeah, I think so. You know,
can we talk about being a father and like how is that? Like, is that something you always wanted to do, is to be a father? Or is it something that you kind of figured out later in life?
You know, I think it's something I always wanted to do and not something I always knew was possible.
Yeah.
Because look, I know that there were lots of gay couples and lots of gay parents, and there have been for a long time. Mm-hmm. But when I was growing up in Utah, there were none. Yeah. And there was no Instagram. There was no, you know, like I didn't know anyone who was in a long-term gay relationship. I was like, what is that even? Yeah. How could you be parents? And so I think I wanted it, but didn't know how. And then when I started getting older, Eric and I were like, let's just start down the road. We're not sure how we will afford it. We're not sure how we will get the people who we need involved. We're not sure any of it. But let's just start down the road. And 3 years later, we had a baby.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. And, you know, it's the best thing I ever did. It's the best thing I ever did. It's not the best thing anybody ever did. And it's not for everybody. And not everybody should want to have kids. As I think, you know, my brother, in fact, was like, he at one time was like, I think we're going to go through the foster care program and have kids and stuff. And they sort of started doing it. And then they realized that was not for them. Yeah. And then he ended up like mentoring an older kid who was in the foster program, but who was in like his late teens when he met him. And now he's become kind of a father figure of this adult, which is very fulfilling to him. You know, so it's like, they're all different versions of it.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, I have my good friend, they did surrogacy with both of their kids, but they went to India to do it because it was so expensive in the United States. And then, I mean, you have to go over there and give your sperm deposit, and you have to go back over there and get, I mean, it was like, it was so much, but he's got, a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old now, both girls, and him and his husband are like trying to figure out, like, as puberty hits, like, what do we do now? Like,
Oh my gosh.
it's a whole thing. So,
Yeah, that's crazy.
So cabaret, like, do you like, if you had to pick between acting, on screen movie, or cabaret, or Broadway, like, where do you fall? What, or music, because you're a musical artist too. Like, what's your sweet spot? Where would you want to do if you had to pick one to do for the rest of your life?
I think that, my mom was a storyteller. She was a kind of a personal essayist. She wrote a column for the local paper about her life under an assumed name our whole childhood.
Okay.
And so I grew up reading my mom's stories about what she was experiencing in her life and in the community, but done in an anonymous way. So it was never like, then I called my sister Sarah. It was these more general snapshots of what it was like for her. And I think that from reading those my whole life, I really fell in love with kind of storytelling. And then I started doing kind of stand-up, and now I have this cabaret show that is somewhere between a stand-up show and my TED Talk. I also sing songs.
Yeah.
And so, because it's like sort of a piece of theaters book it, and because it's sort of a comedy venues book it, and because it's sort of a piece of music halls book it. And so I've done it now for the past 3 years. I've done it, I don't know how many times, a lot. And to me, I think it's my favorite version of the art form.
Yeah.
Because it's small and intimate, and it feels like a conversation among friends. And also, this particular show that ended up being the album that's out now, or the music from the show, at least is what the album is. I decided that I was like, I was talking to my mom about what I should write about. And she was like, write about the 3 things you're most scared to talk about in public.
What is that? What is that?
Well, you have to come to the show to see.
Okay. I got it.
No, but it basically, like a lot of it is about my faith, or like growing up Mormon and coming out, and, some of my fears of what it was like to decide to become a performer and an artist. And so I think, cabaret, I think is like one of my favorite. It's my favorite one.
I really hope that you end up in another series like Gilded. I really do, because let me tell you, when John Adams died, me and my husband just like sat up, and we were so like, we were mad for like a day, like because we loved your, like, I look forward to your character coming on.
Oh, thank you.
How was it going to watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen?
Oh, so fun. I mean, it was so easy. Like, they'd asked me before to be the bartender.
Yeah.
And it had never worked out. Like, I'd never been able to do it. And so this time it worked out. And it was nice because, the other times they had asked me, it was like in support of a show I was in or something. And this was for my album. And so it was really just in support of me. And Andy and I have a lot of mutual friends, so we don't know each other well. But like, we're both gay dads. Like, he knows me. And so he like gave me some extra attention and like really called out my album and put it up on the screen. And in a way that was very nice of him, because he has such a huge following of people. It was very fun. I had a really good time.
How was it doing John Hill's show? Was that fun too?
Yes. Oh, he's a blast.
He's so fun, isn't he? Like,
fun and easy to talk to. And
you both, with your pictures, like you guys post these pictures with no shirts on, and like, they're the best. Like, everybody scrolls and waits for those from you and John, just so you know. I mean, I don't think, I feel like John doesn't know how hot he is, and I'm not sure if you know either, because like, you both, and you should know that gay men and straight women are waiting for those pictures. So it's summer's coming. Do them more often. That's all I'm going to ask. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Okay, and now back to the show. I have a couple more questions for you. I wanted to know if you could pick anybody to work with, two different lanes, to act with or do a show with, and then the other question I have is, who would you want to sing with? Like, who, acting and then singing? Anybody in the world you could pick.
Gosh. You know what? You know who it was Catherine O'Hara.
Oh,
Um,
God, yes.
always had this dream of working with her.
Yeah.
And there aren't a ton of people that I'm like, think of that, and she was always somebody that was like one day. But Daniel Levy,
Yeah. Do you know him at all?
no, we don't know each other, but I'm like, come on, let's follow him on TV together.
Let's start let's start a campaign on social.
Jeez, yes.
Whenever I post this, I will tag him saying that you guys have to work together because he just got renewed for season 2 for his show, which I'm so happy for him. So
it's great.
He's amazing. And then who would the singing person be? You could work with anybody or sing with anybody.
Gosh, that's so hard. Sarah Bareilles. I saw Sarah Bareilles in Into the Woods and on Broadway a couple of years ago. And it was full of Broadway stars. And she was sort of the pop star. And at intermission, I was like, why is Sarah Bareilles the best actor on that stage?
Yeah.
And not to put anybody else, everybody else was great. But what I was saying was like, holy shit, she's incredible.
Yeah.
Just who she is comes through in such an incredible way. It's so raw. So her. I want to sing with her.
Okay, awesome. I feel like we got to make Dan Levy happen though. I think we can do it. Listen, I've been following you for a while, and if you follow me back on Instagram, but just don't look at the messages I sent you, the DM, because I was just like, I was begging you at one point to come on, and my DMs weren't sexual or anything, because I
will ignore.
Okay, but I was like, please come on, like I love you and all this. So just sometimes when I do this, I'm just like, why did I send that DM? But Bridget Everett, if she ever checks her DM, she's gonna be like, this person's a fucking stalker. Like, stop. So, what is the worst? What is the craziest DM that you've gotten?
Look, I don't check most of my DMs anymore. Like most of them just go to another folder, Yeah. And also sometimes I have a team that helps with my social. So sometimes they will sift through them and be like, here's one from your friend. So no, but there've been some real weird ones. Definitely like people want to buy my socks and.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. That's not happened once. That's happened many times. Or like people just being like, how much would you sell me your gym shoes for? And I'm like, I'm somebody's dad. I'm not gonna.
All right. Yeah. I mean,
I don't wanna. You do you, and that is great. Yes. I love everybody's everything, but just not. I just am not gonna do it.
Same. I feel the way. Like you can do whatever you want to do as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. But that's strange. Like, but it's okay. Whatever people want to do.
Go for it. And you know what? Reach out. Yeah. Ask people if what you want is people's sneakers. Go and ask for it. What's that gonna hurt?
Yeah.
It's not offensive.
Okay, my DMs are nothing then. My my DMs are mild compared to that. I was just asking you to come on my podcast because I said I loved you as an actor. So, tell me about your album. It's called "If the Stars Were Mine." I have it, so it's playing. So me and my husband have dinner at our island in the kitchen every night, and we sit there and we listen to music. So you've been on our playlist.
Oh, great.
Since I think maybe for the last, at least since mid-May, I think.
Yeah. It came out. Yep.
Yeah. So when it came out, so it's been playing on our playlist. So we kind of listen to your music during dinner. So
that's
such an amazing record, like so good. The way that you did, what's the second song that comes up? I
Want to Dance with Somebody?
Yes. The way that you do it is so amazing.
Thank you.
You've made it your own. It's like, no, it's so good. Like, do you know how good it is? Please tell me at least.
I'm proud of it. I'm proud of that song. Really, people are like, it's funny because I grew up, when I tell people I'm going to, like, I sing, I Want to Dance with Somebody. They're like, oh, fun. I'm like, no, I don't do it fun. Because I remember being a little kid and thinking to myself, listening to that song and thinking, like, I don't know that that'll ever happen to me. I don't know that I'm ever going to fall in love because I didn't know what being a queer adult might look like. Yeah. And so to me, there was always this sort of longing about that song and about those lyrics. Like I need a man to, like I want to dance with somebody who loves me.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
How did you and your husband meet?
Working in the theater.
Okay.
Yeah, we were working on a show together 17 years ago.
Wow. And did you know right away?
We were living in 2 different states.
Okay.
And so we had to decide pretty early on if we were serious about it, because it was like, if I'm getting on a plane to see you, we better be serious,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I do think that made it easier to get serious fast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What do you want your son to know about you whenever he gets older? Like, what's the one thing you want to make sure he has that impression of you?
Gosh. That's so hard. And
does he know you're famous?
Sort of. Since he was a baby, when we're in public, people come up to me and ask for a picture or something. So he gets that people know who I am, and we do talk about it as a fan. We do talk about it and what it means, and he also doesn't think it's special at all, and that's just how I want it to be. He's like, it's part of work, and most of the time, if I'm out in public with him, I prefer people don't ask me, don't come talk to me, because I'm with my son, and he hates it because he doesn't want to share his dad with anybody. He doesn't want so. But no, it's funny. He doesn't love musicals. He doesn't want to be a performer at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm doing Little Shop of Horrors, and his best friend loves musicals, and Little Shop of Horrors is his favorite musical, and he's seen this production of Little Shop of Horrors 5 times.
Wow.
And I'm his favorite character. So when he heard that's what I was doing, he lost his mind. He was so excited. And it was one of the first times my son was like, oh yeah, my dad's in there.
Good for him.
You are proud of me.
Yes, he is. Of course he is.
But it's not special to him. And he's been growing up backstage at Broadway theaters. He'd be in Patti LuPone's dressing room when he was 4, and it's just where I go to work.
Yeah.
It's where he does his homework.
Just like his normal life.
Yeah.
What a fun normal life as a kid, though.
Yeah. What a fun normal life. I hope so. I hope it's a fun normal life.
Well, again, you were top 5 of people I wanted to interview, and I appreciate you so much for coming on and doing this. My audience is going to love you. They all need to go buy I will put a link to Spotify and Apple. If The Stars Were Mine is out now, I will put a link to Little Shop of Horrors so people can come and see you. And
also, if you go to clayborneelder.com, you can buy copies of the album and copies of the vinyl of the album. And
I'm actually doing that as soon as we hang up, because I have a record player now and I'm buying vinyl everything.
Great. It's great, isn't it?
Yes, it's so much better.
Photos are great. And you can get them personalized. If you can, I'll write to you, sign them to you and stuff if you order them on my website. So
I will do that as soon as we hang up. So thank you for being such an amazing person and just coming on. And Dan Levy, we know you're listening to this, and reach out. And if you can give a good word for me for Bridget Everett, I'll get Dan, and we'll all 4 of us will go to dinner once this happens.
So. I love it.
All right. Thanks so much for being on, everybody. Remember, go download or go to Clay Elder or Clayborne Elder.
Clayborneelder.com. Yeah, Clayborneelder.com.
Clayborneelder.com. I'll put the link in the description of this podcast or video, and check it out. And if you're in New York, go see Little Shop of Horrors. So thanks so much for being on. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me.